Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. You are watching BooksAreUs. Sorry, I need to wave here so you guys know that I'm here. I hope you are doing okay today. So today is Thursday and it's the 4th of June. Even though we're all staying at home, we are still staying at home, me personally. Though I've been working from home since the lockdown has started. Today is a mandatory leave for me. I have no work for today, so I have time to do this video. And this is what we see outside right now. It's raining heavily. And by the way guys, I'm here in Malaysia. I work here. I've been here for how many years already, and I'm an OFW or overseas Filipino worker. It's a beautiful and nice country. The people are friendly and nice, and yeah, as much as I'd like you guys to see the Petronas Twin Towers, it's somewhere over there. Usually the Petronas Twin Towers will be seen from that place somewhere there. But right now it's a gloomy weather, it's raining, which is nice, which I like. There's something about rainy weather that makes you, a bit peaceful to the ears. I was tagged by my fellow Filipino booktuber, Gerald the Bookworm. He does nice and fun videos. You guys may want to check his channel out. And I think this tag was originally created by fellow Filipino booktuber as well. It's Louisity. You guys may want to check his channel out as well. He has nice videos. Just a background. I just wanted to let you guys see what's outside. It's raining. We can't go outside. It's also a lockdown here. As much as I'd like to go out, I can't. I don't want to. Safety first. Mr. Sun is nowhere to be found today. So I think it's about time for us to do now the Filipino Cuisine tag. Let's start with the first prompt. That will be adobo, or it's your all-time favorite book. Before we go to the book, let's talk about this dish, since you guys may want to know, we have friends who are watching from other parts of the world. Hi, who are subscribed to my channel, and this is the best way to get to know more about our culture, our food in the Philippines. Adobo is a Filipino dish. It can be chicken, mostly chicken, or it can also be a pork meat, or combination of both chicken and pork meat. And it can be considered our national dish. This dish, adobo, viand that we partnered with rice all the time. Filipinos eat rice 3 times a day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Our staple food will always have plain white rice. And this dish is definitely a favorite of every household in my country, and basically whole year round. So going back to the book, my all-time favorite book would be The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. Now, this book is basically about one's journey towards following your dreams in life. I read this book in a time where I really needed it the most. Time where I had too much difficulty in my life, I must say. Financially. I was a working student at the time, back in college. And it was, how difficult it is to be a working student and studying at the same time? I needed to be a working student because my parents are not financially capable of sending me to a university. I worked in one of the fast food chains in the Philippines and a supermarket as well as part-time until I was able to finally, finish college for 4 years. I didn't know if I'll be able to finish studying and what job will I get. I wanted to help my family. I was the eldest, and so I kind of felt there's so much on my shoulder, I wanted to really get out of poverty, and I grew up seeing so much poverty. I didn't want the same life cycle, that I am familiar with growing up to happen to my future family of my own. When I read this book, it changes my perspective in life, generally everything in life. It gave me hope, tremendous inspiration to dream, chase it, really, and make it happen and change your life. And this book says, as long as you do, something that gives you enthusiasm of doing it, God already has a blessing for it. And that as long as you have a clean agenda, take no bad motive towards anything, you have clean conscience, because God will be with you every step of the way. And that for the simple reason, it's the possibility of having a dream come true that makes life interesting. And I always believed in that. It's been more than a decade since I was introduced to this book, and I really make sure I get to reread this at least once a year. This book is just a gem. And now for the second prompt, it will be Durian. It's a book where you heard a lot of negative things, yet you've read it and actually enjoyed it. And that book would be The Da Vinci Code by Dan Brown. Now, durian is a spiky kind of fruit like jackfruit with awful smell, almost next to a fart. Sorry for that word, but with the yummiest taste inside. Type of fruit. It's sweet and soft and velvety texture, on the tongue. Durian is famous in the southern part of the Philippines and also to our fellow Asian neighboring countries like Indonesia, Singapore, and Malaysia. It takes getting used to the smell though, but the fruit is tasty, really. It's nice. So going back to this book, now during high school, I heard many adult people who read books when after reading this book saying this is controversial, like it's an attack to the Catholic Church. One shouldn't read this because it might shake your faith to God, to Jesus Christ, that this book is garbage. But it was this time that I wasn't really into reading books yet, and when I finally able to pick it up back in college and having the impression that reading this book might really shake my faith and all, it's actually no. I actually enjoyed this book, and I knew this was a fiction. I knew this was a work of art. It features many interesting things. I like the blend of art, the history, the literature, bits and pieces of science and religion, and I got fascinated by it when I read this book. But it has never shaken my faith at all. And this is just a work of art, beautifully and brilliantly created by Dan Brown. And he has these fascinating ideas. He injects mind-blowing topics in his books. You will read Dan Brown because you want to enjoy reading a book. When you're having a reading slump for a long time, pick up a Dan Brown novel, boom, you're back on track again for reading books. And fast read with mystery, suspense, and just, pure entertainment. For our third prompt, that will be pastillas, something sweet, light, and a fluffy book. And for this prompt, I've chosen Warm Bodies by Isaac Marion, and I've just recently read this book. Pastillas is made of milk. You cook it on a pan until the water completely evaporates and it thickens completely, it solidifies. Make it into an elongated shape. You may boil it up, you may sprinkle it with sugar all over it. And so going back to this book, something sweet, light, and being a fluffy book. Now, I've chosen Warm Bodies by Isaac Marion. I first saw its movie adaptation on the big screen way back, and my wife and I really enjoyed it. It's so funny and cheesy and romantic, Our main protagonist in this book is a zombie who later on fell in love with a human. Upon reading the book, I really liked the writing style. So it's really a work of art, I must say. It's literary style with a twist. And the dialogues in this book, the plot, everything here is just brilliant, I must say. It's a young adult, somewhat apocalyptic setting. Definitely full of sweet moments, funny moments of hope despite its gloomy setting. And for the fourth prompt, that would be Lechon. And for this prompt, it may be a problematic book, but you still get to enjoy it. For this prompt, I've chosen Love in the Time of Cholera by Gabriel Garcia Marquez. Lechon, by the way, is the whole body of like the whole pork meat, roasted manually, painstakingly and slowly cooked on top of fiery charcoals, non-stop rolling, while the meat is on a bamboo pole. And lechon, I must say, is a status symbol. And if you can afford to buy a whole lechon for your birthday or any occasion, you are considered to be a rich kid. My family was never able to buy or afford one, buying the whole thing. It could be small parts like the head. I grew up not able to taste it often. I'm lucky to be able to get to taste it only when your rich neighbor gives you. You will like its crispy and roasted skin though. The longer it stays in your mouth, you'll taste this umami taste. It's so yummy, it's really for the win. Be careful because the skin, yummy, crispy, and roasted skin, is packed with high cholesterol. Now, going back to this book, a problematic but you still get to enjoy it. I've chosen this book, Love in the Time of Cholera, because this book talks about love. Everyone knows love is a good and wonderful feeling in the world. It's also one hell of a pain and heartache. Problematic for me because this book is so slow. You'll cringe about the many foolish decisions of our main protagonist, having so many relationships with a lot of women, remaining a bachelor until he reaches his old age of 70s, that he cannot yet move on from the love of his life who rejected him during his teenage years. I just find it incredible for someone to do that, when the woman you loved once had already moved on. I mean, love in general can be like lechon, but you must learn to control yourself in a way because it can cause your untimely death, figuratively and literally. And whatever happens, love is always worth it, as what the book tells us. And for our fifth prompt, it would be Sinigang. The prompt is something sour or awful character or characters, yet some folks love them. And for this prompt, I've chosen A Song of Ice and Fire series by George R.R. Martin. Now, by the way, Sinigang is a Filipino dish. It can be fish or pork meat. It's close to our Asian counterpart, that's Thailand's Tom Yum. Only Sinigang is not that spicy, but you can add a bit of, you can use a different kind of chili, the one that's not spicy. And this is a watery dish with green leafy vegetables and spices, and this has a sour taste. Not bad sour taste, but just the right sour taste. It's warm soup. It's just for the win. Good for rainy days, and if you're feeling under the weather, after having a sumptuous bowl of this soup or sinigang, you'll feel refreshed and energized. And I mean, it's just based on my experience. And now, going back to these books, something sour with awful character or characters, yet some folks love them. Dang! I believe everyone can relate. For those who have watched HBO's phenomenal show, Game of Thrones. I mean, I've finished the whole season, big fan of that show, and I was able to start reading the first few books in the series just mid last year. The third book was separated into two. So far, I'm done reading these 3 books, and I've yet to finish the whole series. And so far, I'm liking it. I really like the books, and as much as I like the show, the TV show. I'm now into book 3 so far, and the characters are really awful yet likable at the same time. It's set in a medieval fantasy world of Westeros and Essos, and you can't blame the characters. They need to survive at all costs. This world is full of danger. It's a cruel world to be in, so it's kind of survival of the fittest and the smartest. Think of Tyrion Lannister, you know, Jaime Lannister, Cersei Lannister, Arya Stark, Sansa Stark, Jon Snow, and Daenerys Targaryen. You know, these characters are so brilliantly well thought out, you know, they're really alive. You would understand where are they coming from. They do awful things, they do bad things in this series, but yet you get to like the whole story, the whole series. George R.R. Martin has really done a terrific job of creating these characters in this series. It's difficult not to hate them and like them at the same time, and actually, you know, care for them, because you'll be heavily invested in their journeys when you read this series. They are all humans with good and bad traits, yet you understand each of them, of where they're all coming from. And one of my all-time favorite series, I must say, next to Harry Potter series. And for our 6th prompt, that would be Kuchinta, or something that is a slow and sweet book. And for that book, I've chosen 100 Days of Happiness by Fausto Brici. I've read this book a long time ago, I think 3 or 5 years ago, but I like this book, I like the story. The setting is in Italy, I think. Now, Kuchinta is a Filipino delicacy, best eaten in the morning, partnered with your coffee, or whichever you prefer, whichever time of the day, but whenever you feel like eating it, that's a yummy delicacy. Kuchinta is made of glutinous rice flour. Kuchinta's color sometimes can be a brownish or reddish orangey color, depending on the mood of whoever prepared it. Kuchinta is this chewy, soft, a bit sweet, but not too sweet, just the right sweetness, and is sprinkled with coconut meat shreds. This Filipino delicacy is addictive. It's so yummy. So going back to this book, something slow and sweet, I chose this book, 100 Days of Happiness. It's a story about a man who is in his 40s or 50s, I think, with 2 almost teenager son and a daughter. He has issues with his wife, and they are having a falling out, I think. He also has regret about his father, who just died and not able to attend the funeral. And our protagonist here, he has issues about his health, his own life. He happens to have a cancer and was told by his doctor that he may only have 100 days left to live. And so he thinks of what to do with his remaining life, really how to enjoy it. He tries to fix things, but if he could still be able to fix it. You savor the book slowly because it's so beautifully written. It's full of hope and life and funny moments. A feel-good family story. And you yourself get to sort of experience the protagonist's journey of his last remaining 100 days in this world. And you know, something painful will happen. You have this feeling not to finish the book right away. So you savor every chapter, that you really take your time. And this is that kind of book. But I must warn you, it's painful, but it's a good read. One of the best books I've read in a long time. It's about family, and it's really satisfying. And for our 7th prompt, that will be Pinakbet. It's a book with many insights, ideas that you can learn from. For this prompt, I've chosen Tuesdays with Maury by Mitch Albom. Pinakbet is mainly a mixed vegetable dish. It's the healthiest Filipino cuisine, I must say. It's a jam-packed, healthy vegetables, and you may put a generous amount of chicken or pork slices into it. It has string beans or long beans, eggplant, squash or pumpkin, ladyfinger or okra, bitter gourd, tomatoes, and the basic in sauteing it, garlic, onion. I like the Ilocano version. It's the northern part of the Philippines. My wife is from Ilocos region, and they put bagnet in this pinakbet. I like their version of it, and I think pinakbet came to that region originally, I think. Bagnet is a type of pork meat, and for its umami flavor, they put bagoong isda or bagoong Ilocos. It's I feel, you know what? I feel hungry right now. Anyway, back to this book. This book has many insights, ideas that you can learn from. Another book that has a painful plot, but the learnings here are just incredible. It's so simple, yet it's written beautifully. It's a straightforward storytelling, nothing fancy. This book has the basic things we forget to think of sometimes as we go along with our busy life. And what matters in life at the end of the day, really, the purpose of everything, you know, about the basic human feelings. It tackles about love, regret, pity, feeling sorry for yourself, acquiring material things, you know, forgiveness for those people who have done something wrong to you, about marriage, of being with your loved ones, your faith, your relationship with God, you know, ultimately death, and just so much insights in this book. And also, it's a must read. Another favorite book of mine next to The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. This book is just really amazing. And for an extra prompt, I've asked the original creator, which is Louisity, for this, if I could add one more prompt, and he granted it. He said, okay, I could add one more prompt. And so for this prompt, I'm calling it Sorbetes, or Dirty Ice Cream. It's a book that gave you a brain freeze, just like eating an ice cream. That book that gave me this brain freeze is The Reader by Bernard Schling. Sorbetes, or Dirty Ice Cream. Not literally dirty, but because this type of ice cream is being sold in the streets. And we can always see this in the streets of the Philippines. You get to see this gentleman, a man selling sorbetes. Usually, the cart has 3 flavors: ube or purple yam, cheese or queso flavor, and the third one would be mango flavor. And the seller usually walks the street in the afternoon along with the cart. One of the things that I look forward to buying when I was a kid, you know, simple life, simple things in the 90s. Going back to this book, something that gave you a brain freeze in a positive way, really after reading a book, it has struck you, it remained in your mind, and there's just something remarkable in the book. Really has done something in you to really make you think, you know, deep down about things, about life, about the importance of reading books. It comes to our realization, really, how reading books plays a big role in one's life. And for some people, reading a book maybe is really the only treasure they have, and that reading can really liberate you about anything in life. You get to be in a world that is full of possibilities. You know what? I come from a family that no one bothers in reading a book. For one, it's an expensive hobby and really time consuming. And number 2, being poor, like poor in a way that you don't prioritize reading a book. Instead, you go outside and learn to earn money at a young age to survive, to help your parents, to sell, you know, whatever it is that can gain money from. You may cook something and sell it, banana queue, kamote queue, help your parents in household chores, you know, taking care of your younger siblings. And really, I got into reading books later on in my life. I get to buy books, finally able to have a job of my own and earn money for myself. And I grew up knowing people who are not able to finish elementary education. Some weren't able to learn how to read and write. And this book will address that topic. It's just a brilliant novel. I really like this book. It's so powerful. And for this Filipino Cuisine book tag, I'll be tagging my other fellow Filipino booktubers to do this fun tag. And they are Ray Reads PH, Denise Navy, My Always, Reading Slump Journey, and Clark's Multifaceted Book World. And if you're a Filipino booktuber and I forgot to mention you and you'd like to do this tag and wants to give this a tag a try, feel free to make one. I really had fun doing this tag. And once again, thank you to Gerald the Bookworm for tagging me in this fun tag. And from the original creator of this tag, Louisity, thank you. It was a nice idea. You guys may wanna drop by and check out my other Filipino booktubers channels as well. And so there you have it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. And if you're new to my channel and wants to see more book related content, please don't forget to subscribe. Thank you for joining me today. I hope to see you again on my next video. I'm your Pinoy Booktuber. Basa-basa din pag may time. Stay safe. Bye for now.